Here's something many home buyers in the Charlotte metro area don't realize until it's too late. When you put a house under contract, you pay a due diligence fee directly to the seller. And if you walk away from the deal, in most cases, that money is gone. It's non-refundable. So if you pay a $5,000 or $10,000 due diligence fee, and then you discover a serious problem during the inspection period, you're faced with a painful choice. You can swallow the problem and close anyway, try to renegotiate with the seller, or you can walk away and lose your due diligence fee. But what if you could identify many of those problems before you ever put the house under contract, before you ever wrote that due diligence check? Well, that's exactly what this video is about. Hi, I'm Tom Palmer of Terra Vista Realty. I've been working as both a realtor and a general contractor in the Charlotte metro area for the past 20 years. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through 8 of the most common and most costly inspection issues that Charlotte area homebuyers often miss. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to spot the warning signs during a house showing. That way you'll be able to make a more informed decision before your due diligence dollars are on the line. Let's get into the 8 major issues to look out for. The first issue that's often missed is the window condition. Windows are one of those things that many buyers tend to overlook during a showing because they're so focused on layout and finishes. But aging or failing windows can be a significant expense that doesn't show up until after you're under contract. So during your showing, take a moment to look at the windows closely. The most common issue in Charlotte area homes is failed thermal seals on double pane windows. You'll recognize this as a cloudy or hazy appearance between the panes of glass. That fogging means the insulating gas between the panes has escaped, and the window is less energy efficient. In many cases, it can look fairly ugly too. Also, check the frames and sills for soft or spongy wood, which indicates moisture damage and rot. This is common on older wood frame windows. Vinyl windows are a lot less problematic, but in some cases, older vinyl windows have failures in their drainage systems too. Now, full window replacement in the Charlotte area typically runs anywhere from about $500 to about $2,000 per window installed, depending on the size and material. And premium windows can cost even more than that. So if the windows are original to a home that was built 25 years ago or more, then factor that into your due diligence decision. The next issue to pay attention to is the plumbing pipes, especially the incoming water lines. Water lines are something that many buyers don't think about before going under contract, but they can be one of the most expensive surprises that an inspection reveals. You can sometimes get information on the type of pipes that are in a home from the seller's property disclosure, but the problem is that sellers often don't know what kinds of pipes they actually have. So when they fill out the disclosure, they simply check the box that says unknown. There are 2 common types of water lines that are worth knowing about before you walk into a showing. The first is polybutylene, a gray plastic pipe that was widely used in homes from the 1980s through the 1990s. Polybutylene has a well-documented history of failure and leaks. So when you view a home, I would recommend opening up some bathroom cabinets. Then see if you can spot gray plastic supply lines that look like these under the sinks. Because if you do, then the pipes are likely polybutylene, and that should inform your decision on what to pay for the house. Now, the other type of water line to be aware of is Durapex, which is a brand of PEX tubing that was used primarily in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Durapex has been associated with fitting failures and leaks over time. Now, you may have heard of PEX pipes, which are widely used today and are considered to be reliable. Durapex, on the other hand, is less reliable. This brand of pipes has been the subject of a class action lawsuit, so it's worth knowing if the house has Durapex water lines. You can find the word Durapex written on the pipe itself, like you see here. Again, standard PEX, as well as copper piping, are generally considered reliable and not a concern. Full repiping of a Charlotte area home can get pretty expensive, not only for the plumbing itself, but also for all the drywall that needs to be removed to make it all happen. So it's worth understanding what kinds of water lines are in a house before you buy. The third item to be aware of is crawl space issues. North Carolina's humidity makes crawl space moisture one of the most common and the most costly inspection findings you can get in the Charlotte area. During a showing, first check for any musty smells in the home or cupped hardwood floors. Those are often the first signs of crawl space moisture issues. Now, if the home was built in the early 2000s or before and has a crawl space, then there's a decent chance it wasn't installed the proper way. So be especially vigilant about the crawl space. This is one of the issues that's hardest to spot on your own. So if you have any suspicion at all, factor that uncertainty into your due diligence decision. By the way, because I'm both a realtor and a GC, I can often help buyers spot crawl space defects and other problems in homes early in the process, as in before they start spending money on due diligence fees. I don't do much building anymore, but I've personally built over 50 homes in the Charlotte metro area. So if you'd like to have an experienced realtor who's also knowledgeable about construction practices, then feel free to give me a call anytime to discuss. You can find my contact information down below. Now, another issue to pay attention to is the siding. You'll want to walk the entire perimeter of the home during your showing and look closely at the siding. Generally, you want to look for signs of moisture intrusion, rot, or unusual discoloration. In the Charlotte area, the less problematic siding components tend to be vinyl, hard stucco, brick, and fiber cement. The more problematic components are hardboard, synthetic stucco, and wood. By the way, hardboard is not the same thing as hardy plank. This can be a little confusing. Hardy plank is the brand name for fiber cement siding, just like Kleenex is a brand name to facial tissue. And hardy plank is an excellent material. Hardboard, on the other hand, is not so good. It tends to swell and rot if it's not properly maintained, so just be aware of which one of these materials is on the house you're looking to buy. Oh, and cultured stone is another really popular component in homes in the Charlotte area. And it's not uncommon to find that cultured stone isn't properly installed. So again, look for signs of unusual discoloration on cultured stone, like you see in these photos. The next issue that you want to look out for when looking at a home is the drainage. You'll want to walk around the perimeter of the home during your showing. And while you're doing that, look at how the yard slopes in the first 10 feet around the foundation. Ideally, the ground should slope away from the house by 6 inches or more in the first 10 feet on all 4 sides. If you see areas where the ground slopes towards the foundation, that's a red flag. It could mean water intrusion into the foundation. Drainage corrections can range from minor landscaping work to major regrading or a French drain installation. Issue number 6 is the heating and air systems. Before you decide to put an offer on a house, check the age of the HVAC systems. You can often find this in the seller's property disclosure statement or on the HVAC units themselves. In the Charlotte area, HVAC systems typically last 12 to 15 years, but there's a lot of variation in that. A system that's 14 years old shouldn't be a deal breaker, but it's a significant near-term expense, and you'll want to factor that into your offer. A full replacement in the Charlotte area normally runs anywhere from about $8,000 to about $12,000, and that's per HVAC unit. So if you're seeing an older system, then you just need to factor that into your buying decision. The next issue to be aware of is the roof. You can learn a lot about a roof just by looking at it from the street and from the backyard. You'll want to look for curling or missing shingles, dark streaking, or moss growth, all of which are warning signs. And just as you do with the HVAC systems, you'll want to check the property disclosure for the age of the roof. Most Charlotte area homes have shingles with a realistic lifespan from about 20 to about 25 years. A roof replacement on a typical Charlotte area home runs from $20,000 to $30,000, or can be even higher on larger homes. An aging roof shouldn't necessarily be a deal breaker, but it's the kind of thing that should factor into your due diligence fee decision and your offer price. Issue number 8 is simply signs of deferred maintenance. This one is less about a specific system and more about just reading the overall condition of the home. When you're in a house tour, you can look for signs of deferred maintenance. I'm talking about things like peeling paint around windows and doors, damaged trim or fascia, soft spots on decks, or HVAC filters that clearly haven't been changed in months. None of these should necessarily be deal breakers on their own, of course, but collectively, they give you clues about how the house has been maintained. A seller who hasn't kept up with small things may not have kept up with big things either. And that's useful information to have before your due diligence money is on the line. By the way, in this video, I've alluded to the non-refundable due diligence fees that people can lose when buying a home in the Charlotte area. For a more in-depth explanation of that, check out this other video I made about the due diligence process in North and South Carolina. Now, in conclusion, I want to say that a professional home inspection is still essential. And of course, I would highly recommend hiring an inspector during the due diligence period. But the goal of this video was to help you spot many of the most common inspection problems early in the process, before you start paying non-refundable fees and hire an inspector. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching.